let's be a complaining fan by saying, sure took you sweet time. But then let's kick or slap our face in the face and say, well, at least we got them, so we're happy about that. And I'm talking about the translation. Hi, for those who are watching, it's the Angry Anime Fan, the Despair Reviewer. We're beginning to bring you Chapter 82 of Black Clover. So many questions, or maybe not that many questions, but we still got questions. I'll say one of the manga's most frustrating moments is that we always get questions, but then again, that's actually one of the reasons why we so many read manga, and especially tragedy manga. But I know this is not a tragedy manga, but you get my point. And because, well, people want answers, and eventually you get them. The problem is we hype them up too much that we don't know it too much. But enough about that. In the Black Clover, turns out that Noel and Finral are going to a place of some people we haven't met in the manga, but we have met in somewhere else. A long time ago, I don't know if I talked about that, but a time ago there was supposed to be a light novel of Black Clover, and I saw some unknown characters. When I first saw these characters in the raw, I didn't think it was them, but thanks to this is a shout out, by the way. I don't know if you're watching this, but YouTuber Leopard 1 Million, I think, pointed out on a page that these characters were from that light novel, and we actually get a small word on who they are and stuff like that, and what we can expect from them. They're visiting a guy who seems to have an odd habit of always stripping, but not like Grey, I think a little bit more And then we met a beautiful girl with a very familiar face, and another sweet girl that have a very familiar feathered robe. But both of these two girls are extremely beautiful. Turns out that I think the blonde-haired girl, I don't know, when it's sometimes difficult to see a hair color in black and white manga. It seems that the white-haired girl and the man are together, but they seem to have a relationship where the woman constantly hit the man because of his stupidity. And the girls' names are Domila and Marielle. We still don't. I'll get to the point. I will search if we find out if anyone who's anything. So anyway, it turns out that this guy was actually this guy who is has actually been not a student. He taught apparently Aster some things, but we never really did see it. But these two people, that names are Fansel Kruger, which that's his name, Fansel, apparently are refugees from the Diamond Kingdom. And why did I say that black-haired girl's coat is very familiar? Well, if she opens it up, we can see a little bit of her legs, and that is very, very familiar of Fana. So yeah, I guess we now have finally confirmed that that Fana the Hateful is indeed that Fana we saw from the Diamond Kingdom flashback. And given the fact that Diamond Kingdom is still mentioned in this, arc, I'll say, it's not very unlikely that we are soon gonna be dragged in them. After all, we were hyped up by the fact that Diamond Kingdom have a reserve army that is more powerful than the army Golden Dawn dealt with. Fansel Kruger turned out to be a former director of the military affairs, and maybe Domela Code, is that her, the blonde-haired girl name, was a renowned magic craftsman. Fansel says he hasn't heard of such ancient magic, mostly because he hasn't heard of anyone who can handle such powerful magic. But Domina, is that... sorry, I have to check sometimes in the manga. Well, let's just say it. Domina says that she came from the Witch Forest, the same uh, or aka the Witch Kingdom, which Vanessa recently went to. She describes it as, well, first let's say it like this. Every single known manga has to have an Amazon Kingdom, right? I mean, One Piece had that, and then maybe I cannot figure out someone else. But you get my point, right? There should always be an Amazon Kingdom, and while we cannot really say that the Witch Kingdom is an Amazon, Domina does mention that the Witch Forest or the Witch Kingdom is a neutral zone that is between Clover and Diamond Kingdom, and it's an all women place with that use special magic like curses and have familiars. Vanessa has no familiar, and she uses only string magic. So, who knows? Also, there's one thing that Domina recently reveals in this chapter that also makes me a little bit, huh? But we'll talk about that. Domina mentions that anyone who leaves the forest are fugitives, meaning if they go back, well, there's a high chance they won't come back. And Vanessa in the last chapter told the door that she was the greatest genius since the foundation. And at the ending it seems to imply that yes, she was. But she was someone very special to the queen, for reasons we have yet not figured out. And Domina, well, she fell for Funsel. I mean, Funsel is his name. And but even though she has fallen for him, she still punches him for his incompetence, such as making him live in such a poor place. But Domina also mentions that the queen is a bitch, according to her word. Someone who never lends a hand so easily, or anyone at all. But it has strong fighters. But Noelle is determined to go there. And of course, Fansel, Domina, and Margarete Mariella, are perfectly willing to help. Given to the fact that we cannot read this light novel, and to the fact that Black Clover's wiki is so badly organized. The information about this black novel is well, it's just a black novel. Black Clover novel is so scarce. It will be finding nice to see them. Fans will also describe Aster as his last student. Apparently, they're hinting that yes, Fansel taught Aster some stuff. He is also a little bit good built. But now let's talk about one other thing before we wrap up this chapter, and that is Domina said that anyone who leaves the Witch Kingdom or the forest are fugitives. That actually begs me a very simple question. Then how the hell do they get pregnant? Because in typical Amazon fashion, anyone who finds a man and then mates with that man and gets pregnant always gives birth to female. This seems to include that too. It's an all-female kingdom, the Witch Kingdom, and they always give birth to females. But if they cannot leave the forest, what does that imply? Does that imply that every single witch are artificially created? Given for what we see from the ending of this chapter, it seems to imply that maybe the witches are not real humans as we thought they were. After they have familiars and uses ancient curse magic after all. So, questions that will never get answered. As Fansel and their gang takes Aster and they rides away to the place, we see the first glimpse of Witch Kingdom. Tree-like forest with people talking about stuff. The fact that they also talk about guys again begs my question, so they can't meet them. And Vanessa is face to face with the queen, a very ugly hag that has tons of familiars that are crows. Yeah, maybe it was familiars that dragged Vanessa into the kingdom. And the queen mentions mysterious things that if Vanessa hadn't left, her perfect plan, I mean the queen's perfect plan would have worked. But Vanessa fell for Jami. Well, she has said she has fallen in love with him many times. But the queen called Jami a normal human, even though Vanessa was a perfect witch, and it seems like the queen's magic is powerful enough to even blast a hole through the wall. And she still talks about incomplete, but Vanessa is undetermined, saying that I am only here for you to teach me how to dispel ancient curses. So yeah, that's how the chapter ends. The fact that the queen says a normal human, that once again begs my question, who are these witches? There's only been two other people that have talked about normal humans, and that is Lich and Veto. What I mean about that is they claim they're not human, but if they're not human, then what are they? The same can be said with these witches. If the queen says they are not normal human, then what are they? Moreover, apparently, according to the queen, if Vanessa had strengthened her Vanessa's string magic, then she would have been able to control fate itself. That also begs the question, just how versatile is Vanessa's string magic? It seems a bit versatile, but at the same time it seems pretty simple. So, but she did say in her mind when she helped Asta that the red thread of fate is always holding and guiding. Was that a foreshadowing that maybe Vanessa's string magic can become so extreme that it can even hold the thread of fate? That seems like a far-fetched theory, but who knows? So yeah, this arc seems to be about the Witch Kingdom and dispelling Aster's arms. Seems very likely that the Queen can do it. But this still begs the question, how will the Diamond Kingdom be dragged into this? Moreover, it wouldn't surprise me if the Witch Kingdom turned out to have a stone. So what are your thoughts about all of this? What do you think about these characters? Give me your thoughts if you have any.